Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Florida Rise podcast. We've taken up the last 2 weeks just to get a chance to recharge, but I'm finally back. We're covering a topic that I've been thinking about doing for a long time that is very taboo. Today, we're going to cover swingers in the Black community. It's something that a lot of people think doesn't happen, or if they do know that it happens, they tend to have a lot of misconceptions about it. So today, I'm fortunate to have my guest, Miss Nola Darling, to discuss this quote unquote taboo topic. Nola, how's it going?
It's going good. Can't complain. Happy New Year to everyone.
Good. Thank you. Happy New Year. And I forgot to introduce myself. I'm the host, James Brown. Now, before we get started, I'm actually going to have to give a bit of a disclaimer because we are going to be dealing with some adults today. So if you have the kiddies in the room, you may want to take them out because we will be discussing some adult things and may have a few adult activities. So viewers' discretion is advised. All right. I think that's the first time I've ever had to do that on this show.
That's interesting.
uh, all right. Yes. All right, Nola. Here's the first question, which is the main question. What
Okay.
exactly does it mean to be a swinger?
A swinger. Well, for me,
Yes.
we don't like to really like call it
Mm-hmm.
swinging, but that's like I guess it's the name the lifestyle. The lifestyle is more so being sexually liberated to anyone you
Okay.
like. Like if you're sexual attracted, like it's basically all your hearts and desires out in one area and not be
Okay.
judged. And that's how I feel like it is to me. So it's just an opening
Okay.
of who you are enjoying your desires. Maybe you can get it home if you can't get it home, or to expand on it. And it's in a no judgment safe zone. And that's how I look at a lifestyle when it comes to swinging.
So is it just like a big party where there's an orgy, or is it one of those types of parties where you get to act out all of your sexual desires? What exactly? Uh,
So when it comes to
what is
play,
this
so they're
lifestyle like?
called
What would you expect at a party?
okay, so they're called play parties. Play parties, they
Okay.
are sometimes they're invite only if it depends on if you want a certain kind of theme or whatever, or you can find it out on certain websites like
Mm-hmm.
FetLife or SLS, which is called Swinger Lifestyle. Um, at parties, there are rules. You can't touch
Mm-hmm.
without asking. That goes for men and females because females think that it doesn't apply to them neither. Even though dudes are like, I'm not gonna be upset if you touch me, but you still have to ask if you want to touch another female. Consent is all the way down. It's not everybody's not on top of each other. You're not mandatory to play. Most places do have mandatory dress down at 11 o'clock or midnight, which is not
Okay.
naked. You could be in women wear their favorite lingerie. They could wear a robe with it, or men would come in pajama pants or in their underwear. It's not full naked. It's just to make everyone comfortable. Most places
Okay.
have icebreakers or meet and greets so they can know each other, and that's really what it is. It's not like, oh, you have one person on the bed and everybody's just jumping in to have sex. You could be talking to someone and get to know them and you feel the vibe and you want to play with that person. It's not necessarily have to be everybody jumping in to do so. So it's not a big orgy that people think
Okay.
it is.
All right. So you said that there are people that are allowed to come to these parties and they don't have to participate, so they just sit there and just watch.
Some people can be voyeurs. Some people just to watch, see what the feel is, and some people don't like to play at the parties. They're all socialized with other people
Mhm.
and want to play with someone later. So they'll exchange information and want to play with them later. So like some people, I know a lot of people who
Okay.
come to parties to look for like, oh, I want to play with somebody, but I don't want to play with them in front of everybody else because they might get like performance anxiety or something like that. Is they want more intimate things. So sometimes, at most parties, you can't have the
Okay.
one on one because it might be just like three beds in one room. Depends how big the room is. Sometimes you just want that one on one play, and sometimes you don't want people all around you hovering over thinking they could just reach over and grab something off of you. Some people want that one on one play, so not everybody plays in the at the play parties.
Okay. Now, what if someone? Well, first off, how do people meet each other? How do people meet to even start going to these parties? Do they like advertise it in the paper? Do you go online? You know, is
So
it
one
word of
thing,
mouth? Is it a taboo thing?
when you have SOS, which a lot of people are on, they actually,
Okay.
if you're part of a group, if you have a group of people already, you can post parties, but you can't post prices or anything like that. Or some people have a thing
Okay.
called hot dates where they may not have a group, but they have a small get together. They just want to be just couples or maybe a whole bunch of single females or something. And you can post a hot date and say, excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
and say, oh, we're having this little get together on this date from this time or whatever. And it could be that way. And people sign up for it. You put like a phone number, usually a Google number, so we can keep up with everyone and have a guest list.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we usually do it. Or if you have someone like how I got into it, who had a friend was like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to this party. She was being very like really sketchy about the party, but I kind of figured it out. And I said, okay. She goes, no questions. Like, no, no questions.
Mm-hmm.
And I just went with her. And that's when I was a single.
Mm.
So some people do word of mouth if they
Okay.
feel like
I'm
someone.
gonna ask,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna delve into the whole singles thing in a minute. There's a term that I've heard,
Mm-hmm.
and I've actually accidentally walked in on. Can you explain what a munch is?
A munch. It's basically it's like a brunch, but it's basically a meet and greet for fellow kinkers or lifestyles like yourself. If you want to get to meet
Okay.
someone, because some people might be their first time going to a party, or they want to meet new people and get out their own circles. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
meeting like-minded people, so you won't feel like you're by yourself. It's almost like a support group in a way, because it's like, oh, I meet
Okay.
people that who are just like me. I don't feel bad about myself or who I am. There's people just like me. I'm not the only one. So it's more of a comfortability of like, hey, I'm Nola. I'm with this person,
Mm-hmm.
and you just get to meet people. It's just like some people get off a vibe with that. Some munches do end in playtime.
Okay.
Some don't. It could be a
Okay.
vanilla situation.
Okay. Can you explain what vanilla means?
Vanilla is everyday life. Everyday life. Going if you're going out
Okay.
to a party with
So.
friends, it's just like, oh, we're just going out for drinks and that's it. But if you're a person of lifestyle, like I'm going to a party,
Mhm,
you know your friends are lifestyle, like which party, what kind of party? And you go, oh, it's
mhm.
a vanilla party. Like, oh, okay. Like it's just basically a really simple, small
Okay. So
together.
so a vanilla party or a vanilla lifestyle is I guess non-swinger uh
It's basically like
party or non-swing.
it's life with no season. Basically, it's just a regular everyday
Ah.
life. It's life with no season.
I got
Some
it. I
people
got it.
are vanilla with a little bit of cherries in
Mm,
them. Some people are
mm,
no, it just has no flavor.
okay. All right. Now you mentioned earlier that you went to the parties as a single. Uh,
Yes.
can anyone go to the party as a single? Can males or females go to the party as a single, or uh,
Yes.
is there a requirement, especially for guys, that you bring a female with you?
No. With as a female, as a single can go as any male, female as a single. There's really no
Okay.
requirements. They just respect the person. Don't think because she likes sex that she's a hoe at these parties. Um, Single females
Mhm.
are like mandatory for parties because you don't want to have a sausage fest. You don't want to have all these people sign up and you have like 5 women and like 12 dudes, unless you're having a kind of gangbang party, which I never indulge in. I do
Mhm,
not knock anybody for that.
mhm,
But
mhm,
singles
mhm.
are coming as a single female, and usually single female are free before midnight or whatever the cutoff time is.
Okay.
Before you have to pay, and the most you ever pay as a single female is
Mhm.
$20. Now, a single male,
Oh wow. Okay.
that's another conversation.
Mhm.
It can go anywhere between $40 to $60, maybe 75, depending on what kind of party it is. And it's because we really don't need. It's like you
Now, is
really
it
don't.
more?
Mhm. What were you
No, go
saying?
ahead. Again, I'm sorry.
I said because it's like you really don't want too
No,
many
I was.
men. Uh huh.
Mm. Oh, okay. You don't want too many men. Now, for single men, is it more difficult uh, to initiate sex with or initiate play? I believe that you called it to initiate play with a female or a couple.
Sometimes yes, because when you are a single male trying to talk to a couple, you try to do passive elimination, which is not really always the smartest thing to do. Because if you see
Okay.
her other half walk away and to start talking to her, it looks kind of suspicious. It's almost like I want to just play with you, and it's like, but you still gotta respect that I'm not a single. When it comes to single, it's almost like little dates. It's like you get to talk to them, get to know them. You gotta shoot your shot and see what happens. But it's the confidence level goes up a whole much higher in these parties because it's like a single guy who wants to talk to a girl on the street, he's like, I don't know, she's gonna shut me down kind of quickly. And in a party as a single guy, you can get no from this girl, but you have 5 other girls you thought was just as cute or just as sexy, and you can still get a shot. But don't always feel that you're gonna leave a party playing or not playing. You might get a phone number, you might play later, but don't come in a party thinking, oh, because I paid, excuse my mouth, I paid $75, I'm gonna fuck tonight. That's not always how it's gonna happen. It doesn't always happen that way, unfortunately.
So how is playing initiated, especially amongst people that don't know each other? Does one person just walk up and tap the other one on the shoulder and say, hey, I want to play with you? Or, are there code words? How is it initiated?
So for me, example where it comes to me one time when I was a single. I was sitting down talking to one of my friends, Shy. I don't know if she's on here yet. And they will come sit next to one of us and say, oh, you're very pretty. I like your outfit. They'll start off with compliments. Or they're like, you look really nice today. Especially a lot of talking happens when it's dressed down. Especially when it's dressed down. Because you're most vulnerable. Everybody's in their favorite lingerie or their favorite boxers for the night. It's easier because like we're both naked. So we're kind of uncomfortable, but we're comfortable by talking. Sometimes like to compliment you, or sometimes a woman's like, I was looking at you and I want to just get to know you. Like it all goes with vibes. Sometimes you could be staring at somebody all night. I call it, I'm a jerk sometimes. I call it you're babysitting the pussy. Forgive my words when I say that.
Because go ahead. I already said viewers discretion advised, so it's all right.
Because you know how like when you babysit a drink, you can sitting there with the cup and you're like, I'm gonna drink it, but you still got a half a cup before you have that same drink for 3 hours. And that's why I say you're babysitting the pussy, because you're looking at that same girl for the last 2 hours. Eventually, she's going to get tired of you staring at her and said, hi, my name is Nola. How are you? And I've done it. So are you scared of me? Like, you make a joke. It's basically you just, like, go on a date or meeting someone at a club, just you and your drawers. That's really what it is. Just, it's still respect at the same day.
Okay. So, I know respect you say is very, very important.
Extremely.
Are there ever any situations? I'm sorry.
No, I say.
Are there ever any situations where let's just say someone gets disrespectful or someone, says something out of line? If that happens, how is that dealt with? Because
trust. It depends on who. Trust, because a host does not want to be certified as a bad host, saying that my parties are not safe for the women, nothing like that. So usually that's what they tell the person ejected from the party or suspended from parties or they get blackballed from parties, depending how aggressive they were. I've actually, again, a friend of mine, Shy, she had one dude was trying to like force her, like try to play with her. She was like, no, thank you. And he called her bougie. Was I'm not bougie. Like he was trying to like verbally attack her. And another friend of ours who was a partner, he was like, you don't want that smoke. Don't do it to yourself. And they will definitely come in and protect us regardless as women. Because they're like, no, we're not letting you do that. We don't get the wrong idea because she said no. You take it as no and you keep it pushing. And it's the same with women. Women are too aggressive. There's a lot of aggressive women. Don't let them fool you. There are a lot of aggressive women in the lifestyle. And if you tell her no, she can't get big mad that you told her no. Just like not right now, let me rock out. Like, no is no. I can't walk up and just grab you by your dick, like, hey, come play with me. I'm still gonna ask, even though 9 out of 10, a man's not gonna care. But especially when it comes to women, another woman, you don't know if the woman's a unicorn or not. And that's why you have the meet and greets.
Okay, can you explain what a unicorn is?
A unicorn is a bisexual woman.
Yes.
Unicorn is a bisexual woman who's in a lifestyle.
Okay.
So she plays either or. She doesn't have a preference. She doesn't play with either or. And you can't be a unicorn woman and think that the other woman is and unicorn, and you was like, oh, just come up and touch her. You can't do that. That's disrespectful as well. It doesn't matter who it is. It's consent.
Mm-hmm. So if people, I guess, act out of pocket, if people do things that are disrespectful or that aren't right, do these parties have security? Like have security
Yes.
guards there
Some
that
do
watch the
have
room?
security at the door.
They do.
Some do
Okay.
have security at the door. The host usually is never one person as a host. It's usually a co-host, or they might have an extra person just for muscle. So you might have a person who's in the lifestyle, but is there
Okay.
for muscle, so you won't have that beef. And they're the ones who usually like check you at the
Okay.
door or get the payments from you if the host is not available. So it's always eyes watching. And usually, like I said, you either get a warning, depends on what it is, but after a while, you can get ejected from the party and you can be blackballed. And I've seen it
Wow.
done.
Wow. Okay.
I've seen fights break out because dudes don't know how to be respectful.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Now, at these types of parties, what types of people do you get that normally show up? You know, the viewers that you normally get, like the horn dogs, the people that are just, or people that are just on the internet that are weird freaks. You know, can you dispel that myth and kind of tell what
So
types of people you will find at these parties?
I don't like to
Mhm.
call people freaks. I like to call people liberated because they're themselves and they're not being anyone else but themselves. Do have people who walk around with their dick in their hands, which is very annoying. Like, can you go to the left with that? You do
Mhm.
have those. You do have
Mhm.
some who are overly aggressive, and once you
Mhm.
put them in place, they're back up. And you never know what kind of people are there because you'll have people who are in the fire department, who are well known in the police department. It's all about discretion. A lot of us are there with real big careers and don't know what positions we hold in any state or anything like that. And it's never just it's not always your next door neighbor. Sometimes it's someone that it could be your principal at your school. It could be your old neighbor from down the block that you didn't know was there too. It could be anyone.
Mhm.
It could be one of your favorite baristas and you never know it.
Mhm.
So it's
Now,
not just any randoms.
now, with the types of parties that you've been to, what are the occupations of some of the people that you've met? I know that you've mentioned like firefighters, you've mentioned principals. Uh, did you ever meet like someone, let's just say from the church, or
Well, I actually
There's
knew
several
someone that has
parts.
a
They told me the
very high
swingers, what
ranking?
they tried to steal, and this was
I'm
oh,
sorry.
I don't know what that was. I've actually met a woman
Yeah,
who was
yeah.
actually full blown in the church. She was actually singing in the choir. She worked for her church. She was her church
Mm-hmm.
secretary and everything. And
Oh
she was
wow.
actually a dom.
Okay, can you break down? Can you break down what that is? A dom?
A dom is a dominant person who can either have a brat or slave, own a babies or any subs. It's basically
Okay, I'm gonna
hmm?
break all of those down because all those are new.
So
So
um a brat is self-explanatory. She likes to get in trouble. She wants everything her way, or he wants everything his way. It's not always just a woman. It can be a man or a woman.
mhm,
As a brat, they want their way. They
okay,
love to get in trouble. They ask for it, basically.
okay,
A sub is they can't do anything without your
okay.
say. Like if for instance, again, my mouth might be crazy. If
Mhm.
your dom is giving you pleasure and they're edging you, and they said no, you can't come yet. You have to hold it. You have to listen to your dom.
So okay. So if
It's
you do it
it's
because
not disrespect. It's the most trust to anyone you can have.
mhm. So the question is, if you do that, if you let it come without permission, what happens? Would you get beat up or kicked out? How does that work?
Well, it depends on what you and your dom have as a relationship. Some people can get licks or AKA flogs for it, or it all
Okay, so
depends
that's like
on.
beat, right?
Yes, it sounds bad when you say beat, but it
So
really isn't. It's a release of pleasure through pain. It's a release through pleasure through
so
pain.
they beat you with like a paddle or whip.
It depends on your choice, really, what you can handle. Your dom
Okay,
knows what you can handle. So
okay.
like
Now,
I've seen everything. I've seen people who take like the lanyards and they like that. And but there was always an aftercare after. So it's not like I'm just hit you and that's it. It's I'm gonna hit you and I'm gonna rub the area, make it very sensual, and then it's gonna come back again. It's not like you're beating the hell out of somebody. It's not like you're trying to really do any real harm to them. It's a pleasure with pain. And that's just a part of many
Mm.
different kinks like it.
So people that are subs or doms, are these
Mhm.
people that normally have that type of behavior in everyday life, or do you think that they kind of switch up or they play a character when they get into this lifestyle?
It's a switch up because I actually met a man who was in big corporate
Okay.
America at a buy party about 2 years ago, who actually enjoyed
Okay.
pegging as well. And before you ask, I'll tell you for someone who
Okay.
don't
Yes, I was gonna ask.
know,
Yes.
pegging um, is penetration of a male with either a strap on or a dildo. Uh, so it's usually for men who like to be pegged are usually the ones who are like top notch dog, head of a corporation who always has to give orders to everyone else, and they get their release through being dominated and getting orders from someone else. So they usually like that domination. Usually a wife or someone else out of their marriage or something like that. And a lot of them pay a top dollar just to get that submissive release because every day they're telling somebody what to do. And usually someone who are submissive are usually the ones who are very dominant in their work life or at home. They want a time where it's like, let somebody tell me
Now
what to do.
the
Give me a break.
the people, the guys that I guess are pegged, are
Hmm.
these gay men or
No,
bisexual men? Oh,
no,
okay. So these are men. No.
no. So most,
Okay.
believe it or not,
So
most men who like to be pegged are not always homosexual men or bisexual men. They're usually heterosexual. And the one man I knew was heterosexual man.
all right, I'm trying to figure this out.
Very
Okay.
trippy.
So
It can be very weird because it's so the thin line is most guys, some men, let me not say most guys, some men who do like
Mhm.
pegging, they only want it pegging from a woman. They don't want it, they don't want an actual male doing it. So that's where the line can be thin.
Oh,
But there are some guys who don't, who, like I said, they're the
okay.
bisexual men who are just bisexual. But most men who like the pegging or
Okay.
are usually just because they want that. It's just, it's the most, and that it's so taboo, but it's the most, it's like the men's G spot actually. And most men are not going to touch that. They're not going to even play with that area. But it's usually a single man. I mean, not a single man, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, a heterosexual man who'll be okay with it as long as there's a woman doing it. It could be a finger, it could be anything. As long as it's a female doing it, they will qualify
Mhm.
it as not as a gay sexual act.
See, there are going to be a lot of questions about this during the Q&A section. Because it's yeah, that's an interesting one to me.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
kind of, I
fine
don't know.
line. It's a very
I
fine
guess
line.
the mentality, yeah, yeah, it's weird. Not, I'm not gonna say weird. Where's the poor
I just
choice of
have
words? It's different.
mm-hmm.
It's different than what you normally hear about or think of in everyday life. So
Yes.
I'm not trying to shame anyone or anything like that. So it's not weird, just it's different.
The
Um,
best part you're doing is you're
Parties,
educating
are
yourself.
they? I'm sorry.
I said you're educating yourself, so that's the best.
Um,
You're doing good.
yeah, yeah. um, yeah. Now at these parties, do you have a lot of LGBT people at the parties, kind of intermingling in these parties? So is it possible that you may see a man and a woman? If they're right next to them, you might see a man and a man, or a woman and a woman right next to each other.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I've actually met
So
my
that's
very
common.
first. Yes, it's common. It also depends on what group you are around. So like if you're a part of a group that
Okay.
I'm not gonna name any groups right now or at all because I feel like I just want to be very discreet. But if you have a group that there's
Mm-hmm.
one group that I'm a part of that we used to go to a lot pre-COVID, they were known for a lot of their bisexual parties because the hosts they were bisexual, so they would have
Mm-hmm.
bisexual parties on Wednesdays. So they'll always have an afternoon thing.
Okay.
So fun fact, New Jersey is probably one of the
Mm-hmm.
only states that have like the most play parties, and that doesn't have to be in at night. It could be an afternoon delight, like an afternoon snack, and you can have like a 2 to 6 an afternoon party. It doesn't have to be always at nine
Wow.
o'clock at night. You can have it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesday. just to get your quick midweek nut out or something. A lot of people have afternoons or morning things, and they'll have from like 10 o'clock in the morning to about like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you want to slide through before lunch or during lunch, yeah, there's a lot.
Now, do those types of parties, do they get crowded, or are those kind of like the light crew?
You know what's funny? It could be a hit and miss, actually. It could be a hit and miss.
Okay.
I've been to one where it was like a good crowd. During the summer, you get more of a big crowd than you do during any other season.
Okay. Now, how were these parties? How were these parties with this lifestyle holding up during COVID? You know, with the social distancing, with people having to wear masks. Are the parties still happening?
Believe it or not, yeah.
During COVID.
Believe it or not, yes.
Okay.
Some people are having a cap on how many people there are. A lot of them are doing temperature checks at the door. They're doing a lot of hand sanitizing, extra precautions to make sure everything else is sanitized. If you are coughing or anything and looking crazy, like, oh no, can't come in. And a lot of them are taking an extra precautionary, more than the norm precautionaries that would do before, but now it's like to the 10th power.
So are they making people take like COVID tests and bring the results with them?
Some of them actually do. Some places actually do.
Okay.
Some places actually want you to bring in your paperwork.
Now, in terms of staying along the same line of testing, we have a lot of STDs out there. Do they require people to bring in their STD test results to these parties?
Some parties do and some parties don't. So a lot of, but what I also must say is that a lot of people are very discreet. They'll tell you, there's actually like, oh, we have hepatitis B, but we have it under control. There are a lot of people who actually will tell you the truth, and a lot of people will not. And that's where cliques come in, because people like to just still stay in their cliques, the people that they see all the time. That's why they're a little scary to try to jump into a new person at parties, because you don't know. And protection is always, always, always a given. And if you don't have any, there's always baskets on the nightstands by these beds or wherever they are. There's always a lot there. You know what I mean? So like, there's always a lot of precautions. But some places, depends what kind of party. If you go to like a bareback party, which I've never attended and I don't ever plan on attending, bareback is an unprotected party.
A bareback. Thank you.
So a lot of results from the most recent results. Some people do that. So a lot of people do. It may sound very what's the word I'm looking for? It might sound very unethical, but there's a lot of ethics to this, and people know.
Okay.
Like I'm not a kisser.
Are there?
I don't kiss nobody but my own, because I don't. I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry.
Is that, I guess, one of the? Are there certain rules or certain etiquette that you have to follow at these parties? I know that you said touching is one. That's a big one. Are there any other rules or etiquette that should be followed at these parties besides the touching?
Join in. Like if I'm playing with somebody, for instance, I'll say if I'm playing with a woman and a man want to join in, he can't just join in. He has to ask, can I join in? Or if a guy is playing with me and another guy comes in and wants to touch on my leg or something, usually that's not the person I'm playing with will either slap his hand away or like, yo, dude, ask her first. Well, what also kills me is, I don't know, it might just be my pet peeve as a female who's a strong, independent female, that when a guy comes in and want to play with the girl too at the same time as you, they ask the guy, I'm sorry, this is my vagina. Why you can't ask me? So I get, and it's like, like, can you ask me, please? Like, it's mine. I grew it. Ask the owner, person who thinks they own it. And so you get that a lot, especially at parties. You'll have a whole a whole dude ask your husband or your boyfriend or whoever you came with, like, oh, can I play with her? You always have to tend to be like, go ask her. And another etiquette is if
Mm.
you're not a single, you're a part of a couple, you always, that's like the thing they'll ask the woman or the man, can I play with him? Can I play with her? Some people like they're gonna sometimes 9 times out of 10 when you direct you to the person that you want to play with, when you play with them. Like for instance, I actually have a partner now
Mm.
in a lifestyle. And if I'm talking and vibing with somebody
Mm.
and we want to play, I go, give me 1 second, let me tell him that I'm playing. I'm like, hey babe, I'm gonna play with XYZ. He's never
Mhm.
far away from me. Never far away from me. He's never no more than 5 feet away from me. Because at the end of the day, his main point of the party is
Mhm.
protect me. So he's never far away from me. We'll be in the same room, but I just like kiss him on the cheek, like, hey babe, I'm gonna play with this person. That's an etiquette of couples.
Mhm.
Another etiquette of couples is well, for me, I'll tell you my rules. Me and my boyfriend, we don't play.
Mhm.
We don't play with if you are playing with one person and we did not see you wash up to go to the next person, don't think you're playing with me or him. I am anal about it. If
Okay.
I didn't see you wash up in that bathroom to give yourself a quick whore bath in between play partners, don't think you're playing with
Mhm.
me. Because I'm not rubbing on the next person's juices and doing it. That's a
Mhm.
big no-no. And a lot of people do implement, please take a shower, that's why they're there. Please use the baby wipes, that's why they're there. And you always should have your own whore bag.
Mhm.
A whore bag is a joke, is an inside lifestyle joke when we say
Okay.
whore bag. You're not really a whore.
Mhm.
It's basically all your
Okay.
toiletries, change of clothes, even if you have wee wee pads, if you're a squirter, stuff like that, you have your own whore bag. It could be a small bag, it could be a big book bag. It's just
Mhm.
stuff that's your essentials that you need for when you go to a play party. So a lot of people do implement, please, 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 please take showers all the time. They always yell like,
Mhm.
take
Mhm.
showers, please wash up. We don't want to talk about you later. We want to come once you come back. We don't want to say why you can't come back. So with me and
Mhm.
mine, our thing is give each other the first release. We don't give like, so we're the first persons to play with each other first, unless it's somebody we really know and we're
Okay.
like, oh, you can play with them first. You don't have to worry about me right now. But it's always
Mhm.
because I think always communication is the key, because you don't want to be playing with somebody's spouse or girlfriend and you didn't
Mhm.
tell they didn't tell their spouse or girlfriend that, oh, I was playing with X, Y, and Z. Now you have a whole fight, and I've seen it done.
Mhm.
So it's always communication is a big
Mhm.
must. Must. You must do it.
Do
So
people
it's just like
sometimes get attached? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no good.
Do people sometimes get attached to the person that they're playing with in these parties? Is it one of those types
Yes.
of things where you're playing with them and you say, you know what, yeah, I want this person every time, and it may at times cause issues in their relationships?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you don't really know the dynamic of most people's relationships. And sometimes some people might allow
Mhm.
to have polys, because there are polys in a lifestyle, because it's kind of easier that way if you think about it. Um,
Okay.
it can
Polys are what?
it's polyamorous is not is believing in having more than one mate. So if I have two boyfriends or if my boyfriend has two girlfriends, stuff like that, which we don't indulge in. Some people do that.
Mhm.
Some people have like I've known people who are actually married and have a girlfriend as like she's a woman and she can have
Okay.
a girlfriend outside of her husband with permission and stuff like that.
Wow.
So sometimes you have sometimes you have a favorite single that you want to play with as a couple that you see all the time. Like, oh,
Mhm.
if you're going to X, Y, and Z's party, like for instance, like, oh, you're going with James, you going to James's party tomorrow? Like, yeah, so we'll meet you at James's party and you have a whole setup right there. If you can't make like, or sometimes
Wow.
you'll have like a whole setup where like, oh, who's hosting? Am I hosting or you're hosting? Hosting is
Mhm.
you're at your house or somebody's house, or you're gonna meet at a hotel, which one of your favorite play single or couple with a couple swap. So sometimes it could be that
Mhm.
way. Um, and that's how it usually is. So sometimes you can get attached as even as a single with another single. And
Mhm.
that's where it gets a little dangerous. I actually met mine through the lifestyle. It just made just
Okay.
made our relationship so much easier. The trust is extremely open in there because
Mhm.
there's no secrets, no hiding. Everything we give everything to each other that we want. You never believe that you never feel that you give the person's every desire that you wanted. And I feel like it makes our relationship like the best relationship.
Mhm.
That's not the best relationship I ever had. We had like little small
Mhm.
fights like everybody else, but for everything else, everything is satisfied and met because we are living what we want. We're living our truths. But it's also
Now,
there's
with
sides.
these,
Uh-huh.
mhm,
Go ahead.
mhm. No, go ahead, please. Please
So
continue.
there's where people who get a little attached and it can mess up. Like they could say, "Oh, we're down for the cause. You can play with that person," but they might not really like that person, and now you're playing with them, and now it's a whole nother fight. And it's like, I've seen rifts get through relationships. I've seen people get into this lifestyle to fix their marriages, and it just didn't work out that way. They were just playing. They were literally being secretive, and it shouldn't be.
So, have you seen a married couple go to one of these parties or go to these events, and the person that they're playing with may be better with their spouse, and they leave their spouse for that person?
I can't say that I have, but I know it put a rift through people's relationships because I saw seeing that
Okay.
person secretly outside of
Okay.
any kind of meet instead of just saying, "Hey, babe, I want to go play with this person," because they knew it was more than just a play.
Mm.
I've seen people get way too attached to other people, not even to put like a stamp on my vagina or anything like that. But I've actually had someone when I was single that I used to deal with,
Mhm.
who I stopped dealing with, obviously, who was like, "I want to be your side. You like you can't get attached." It was just part of the play party. You had your chance and you did it. So people's emotions get attached quickly and badly, and you just have to know if you're ready for that or not.
Now, once these parties are over, and you see each other outside of the parties, like you see each other on the streets, do you kind of just wink and nod at each other, or do you say, "Hey, remember me from the
So
party?" How does that?
the lifestyle etiquette
Mhm.
is, and now there's two ways. There is you can give a nod or
Okay.
a smile, or depends. But
Okay.
if you really know them outside of lifestyle, like I have friends that I know that like they know my first, last name, where I live, where I'm from, my blood type,
Hmm.
family members that if I see them in the street, I'm like, "Hey," I go, "Hey, Jackie, how are you?" And we're close
Hmm.
like that because the family knows me. Oh, that's a friend from wherever she was, whatever she was. Like they won't really say where they met me from, but they know me already because I've seen them with somebody else. But if I
Hmm.
don't know you, if we're not like that, we see me passing through, you see me outside, and we're not close like that, you just go or smile or just be courteous. But some people do not
Hmm.
follow that courtesy, and you're like, "I don't know you." You gotta give them the whole Mariah Carey. I don't know you.
It's
Literally,
terrible and hilarious.
the funny thing is, if you say that, when I was a single, I was actually still dating someone. We were on a riffs, and I bumped into someone I was really cool with at parties, but he didn't really know me outside of the party life, out of lifestyle. And I ducked
Mhm.
behind a rack of something. I can't remember what it was because I didn't know who was gonna say hi or not, and I didn't want that kind of static. I don't want to explain why I knew this man. And he like, you don't
Mhm.
know. Sometimes you're like, wait.
Mhm.
Or you be with your friend who be in the lifestyle, like, "Yo, is that who I think it is?" Like, and you don't even call them by their real name. You call them by the name that you
Mhm.
know them
Mhm.
from the
Mhm.
lifestyle. And I'm laughing because I'm looking at my friend Shy, and she's
Okay.
laughing because she knows we be going through these things. She knows we go through. Like, it's like, is that who I think it is? And you can't say anything, so you just gotta
Oh
like
man,
hide in the shadows real quick like this.
kind of hide it.
Uh-huh.
Some people might not. Some people might not understand etiquette.
Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Or you see them about to say hi, you just do this.
Now, do you guys do people in their lives have ways of I guess subtly communicating or subtly showing who they are? Like it could be a shirt, a certain hand symbol, a certain word, uh,
It, it's
anything
actually
like that.
it's a fruit. Believe it or not, it's a fruit.
A fruit.
Can you take a guess?
Okay. What type of fruit?
Wow, take a wild guess. Just entertain me. Take
Oranges.
a guess. No, pineapples.
Oranges.
Pineapples.
Pineapples.
Yes, pineapples.
Okay.
It's usually
Oh,
it's
I
usually
guess.
any type of thing with pineapple, upside
Okay.
down. Some people don't even know it, and I make a joke like, "What do you know about that pineapple life?" They're like, "What are you talking about?" And I explain to them like, "Oh, so pineapple
Mhm.
basically is the unofficial mascot or symbol for the lifestyle. Believe it or not, people who go on cruises, there are a lot of lifestylists on cruises. And sometimes they have some type of pineapple on them, like a shirt or a necklace or something. And yeah, if they get a little bit too friendly with you, that is why they're trying to see your vibe and see what you're up to. Actually, it's funny. I was going to a party one time, and a woman had a pineapple on her car. Obviously, she was going to the party, but yeah, it's a true thing. The pineapple is a true thing. It's a pineapple.
Wow.
I don't know
now,
who.
I've heard something about handkerchiefs.
But I just know it's a pineapple. Oh, and
I've heard something about handkerchiefs.
Handkerchiefs? I never heard of that one. But I've only heard of pineapples.
Yeah, I've heard of like handkerchiefs. I'm sorry.
If you ever see a Caucasian woman with a black spade tattooed on her.
Okay.
I'm laughing again because I can see my friend laughing. My friend Shar laughing. It's called basically Queen of Spades. It's a Caucasian woman who actually is a lover of Black men. She only likes to play with Black men. You know, she may be married to a white man, but she wants a party of what she wants. So usually she's a Queen of Spades. So that's another symbol. Usually it's a woman, it's a Caucasian woman with a tattoo of a spade.
Oh wow. All right.
It's usually like
you are welcome.
The ones I've seen are usually like on their butts or on their lower backs, but it's usually a Queen of Spades tattoo somewhere.
Queen of Spades. Okay. All right. I'll make sure I write that down just in case I see him. Now, is race play a big thing at these parties? I know that certain people, they may not date people of another race, but they have fetishes. So you may have Black men that have a fetish for white women, or white women that have a fetish for Black men, and or Black women and white men, or what have you. Is that something that's big in the lifestyle or big in the parties? People specifically seeking out certain races because of those fetishes?
Yes. Me personally, I don't want to sound discriminative, but I don't personally like to play with white men just for that reason. It's bad enough that I'm already a chubby girl, and then I'm a fetish to some people because they're like the whole BBW thing. I don't want to be seen as that. I just want to be seen as Lola. That you think I'm sexy as fuck, and you you want to try me out like a ride. I don't mind, but I don't want to be looked at as any kind of fetish. I don't like the feeling of it. Some people get a high off of it. I personally don't like it. I did play with one because we were really friends, and he wasn't looking at me as a fetish. He looked at me as who I was because he always talked to me and spoke to me and said, "How are you?" And it was like full conversation. It was never just like, "You're just so beautiful, a Black woman." Like once you start hearing something like that, cut it out. That's what they say. So I'm and honestly, I haven't met anyone who was like. I've had people say I've never slept with one before, and those are the ones that give me like red flags. It's like I'm on a to-do list. We're not doing that. I never slept with a Black woman before. Well, I'm not going to be your first one. I don't tell
you. Well, do you ever hear of racism at these parties? People may click up and may not allow certain races at these parties.
Well, I personally, thank God, I've personally never experienced it before, but I've heard of things like that. But some people have theme parties where it's only white women, and they just want Black men as invite only because it's an interracial party. They just want like a cockhold. Cockhold, a cockhold is basically is usually for Black men and a white couple where they want to. Is usually, not always, where they want a bigger endowed man to pleasure their wife while they watch. And it's just usually what it is. And it's usually, like I said, it's usually a Black man, preferably more endowed man, because it's something that they can't give their wife. They want her to have it, get it out of her I guess out of her system. But they do but I've seen parts where it was just like, oh, only Spanish people, stuff like that. But it's usually themes because they want to get a branch out of more of their people to be mixed. Because some people don't want their parties to be just one-sided. They want it to be more multicultural. Like I said, I've been to parties where was majority Black people, and there's somewhere there was a little sprinkle of Black people, and then there was parts where it was a nice group of everybody.
Okay.
So it all depends. But I personally
Now,
have anyone that came out their face, race, any kind of race. I feel, don't get me wrong, it exists, but I feel like with this lifestyle, it's almost like sex is sex sometimes. Almost. And it's like, I guess sometimes I feel like if you're not open enough to be in this lifestyle, then why, and you know you might cross someone of a different color or religion. Fun fact, I actually met a guy when I went to a club. Well, I met a party in New Jersey, and we seen him again at a club in New York. Hasidic Jew, curls, yarmulke, and everything.
Really? Wow. Wow.
And he thought I was the most beautiful woman in the world.
I wonder if his temple knew about that, or how that would react.
Right? Completely forgot all about that, but completely. He had the yarmulke, the curls. He had the I forgot what the wrap is. And and we knew him and he was such a down to earth person too, completely down to earth. He didn't see you for your race. He seen you as, if you're a beautiful woman, you're a beautiful woman. And that was like my first culture shock ever to see, because they're very, they're very reserved. To see that was like, oh shit, blew my mind.
Wow, it's so crazy. It's like you're such a wealth of knowledge when it comes to this. How long have you actually been in this lifestyle?
Believe it or not, only 3 years, going on 4.
3 years.
3 years going on 4.
All right. Well, it's almost as if it seems like you've been through this your whole life.
No, so
just with how much you know about it, how much you're into it.
So with me is I've always been a sexual liberated female, since forever.
Okay.
And I don't know. I've always felt like, because when I don't want to say I'm a feminist, I'm just a womanist. When you read through history and in the Bible how they shunned Mary Magdalene, I went to Catholic school for 12 years. Fun fact, Catholic school for 12 years, and the way they shamed women and how they made us feel like we're supposed to be this thing, and like, I get your body's a temple, but my temple is my temple. I take care of my temple the way I do. So why is it not forced onto a male the same way? And I felt like it was such a sexist world. Like, society wanted to be these different women. And it's like, okay. Like, I know people who are in the church or are married and feel like, oh, I'm not supposed to be, my mouth, fair warning again, my mouth. I'm not supposed to suck my husband's dick because we're married. Excuse me. You're supposed to do all those things because now you're not sinning anymore. You're under God's law with being married. And it's like, I don't want to be in that category where I can't be me. At the end of the day, I want to live and die as Nola. I don't want to be 65 years old like, I should have did that. Do you know how many women I've met in lifestyle who lived cookie cutter marriages and then got into the lifestyle at 40, 50 years old after being married for 25 years, so young, and now the relationship was over, and now they got this whole liberation? I did not want to be that woman. I wanted to know my body. I wanted to know what I liked, what made me happy. I wanted to know that all before I was even 40. And I learned that by 25. And I'm 34 now. So I've always been a very sexual, open person, very understanding. Nothing bothers me. Nothing shocks me at all. I don't have a shock value. I'm so open-minded that you could tell me the sky is falling, you caught it with your hand, but you put it in your pocket, you don't know if it's going to burn or not. But you got to tell somebody. I'm going to understand. Like, I'm like, okay, that's kind of interesting. I don't judge anyone. I don't have it in me to judge when it comes to your kinks and quinks. I don't yuck anyone's yum. So, and if I'm into something,
I've never heard it put that way, but
you don't yuck no one's yum?
I've never heard it put that way. I might have to steal that.
By all means, don't yuck no one's yum. And so it's like, you never know. Like, some people just get into it because they want to be extra. Like, oh, I just want to jump into it to feel like I'm special or new. No, when I jump into things, I'm not jumping into it because, oh, it's a new fad or anything. I need to know what it is. What's it about? How's it going to benefit me? How I'm going to learn from it? How's it going to make me feel like a better person? I don't ever want to be locked in a box. I don't even own a box. I sit on top of it and draw on it. and make it a different color every day. That's just who I am. I pride myself as a free-spirited person. I make jokes and say I'm a gypsy soul because I just very all over the place. And I love that about myself. I make a joke and say I'm a mannerism instead of a name to my family. And that's just how I've always been. And you're not going to change me, not going to shame me. And with this year, I am no longer scared of fear of judgment. I'm going to do what the fuck I want when I want it. And as long as it's not hurting or harming me, I'm okay with it.
Good way to live. There's a lot of people. I actually said that Monday on my other show that a lot of people aren't living the lives that they want. They're living the lives that society tells them that they're supposed to live.
Living the truth.
And that's why I think it's perfect that we had you on this week to talk about that, because you sound like you're living the life that you want, not necessarily the life that people are telling you that you should be living.
I'm telling you the things I've
being
done.
that you were someone that went to Catholic school.
I'm just living my life because I feel
Well, I was
like
gonna say,
make yourself sick.
Yeah, and especially being someone that went to a Catholic school, I'm pretty sure that it was pretty conservative. It was probably a different type of life that you're living now. That's probably what was pushed there, and you'd probably be miserable now if you had to live that type of life that they try to groom you for.
So here's the funny thing.
It sounds like
my education had nothing to do with me being me. I just always felt it was unfair how females were treated.
Okay.
I seen that a lot early. Okay. My dad is an old school, strict West Indian man from Trinidad, and he believed another saying that I hate: a woman is a white dress and a man is a black suit. Meaning, on
what
white,
does that mean?
You spill anything on a white dress, you see everything. She's tarnished, she's messed up. You can't get that same white all over again. You spill something on a black suit, it's still gonna be black. You clean it right off. You don't see it. And to grow up with that sexist mentality from my dad growing up, I was like, no, something's not right here. Something's wrong. I've always been a free sexual person. The funny thing is, I didn't become sexually active until I was in college. I was 19. It wasn't a must thing for me because I didn't want to give my sexual energy just to anyone. I've seen way too many girls go down or get caught up in the wrong person, and I just seen their life for themselves disappear, and I didn't want that for myself. And like I said, I've always knew with the whole rape culture and everything else, and you can't be sexy because it's you, and you forced it on yourself. And I hated the fact that we could not do that. So for years I was a tomboy. I didn't fully come out completely like glam girl and everything until I was 28 because I did not want to be part of that rape culture. And I remember in a sociology class, the teacher told me 1 in every 5 women will be sexually assaulted. So the chances are very high. And it's always a person you know. And I never wanted that. I wanted to take control of my own self, have my own way of myself. And in Catholic Church, they shun you. They don't even talk about the Songs of Solomon. It's the most sexual chapter of the Bible, and they don't talk about it. They don't talk about it at all.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
It's because they kind of shun it. It's like a freedom. They want to feel like, as if you remember, I don't know if of course you don't remember, but if you ever read books or watched movies, 50s and 60s and 70s, sex was just a thing you had to do when you were married. And as a woman, you're not supposed to enjoy it. It's just a job you're supposed to do. You know, like there's states now that you're not allowed to do certain sexual positions. I think you can only do missionary.
Isn't it like it's one of those Midwestern states? Yeah, I forgot what state. I think it's somewhere in
Virginia is one that you can only do missionary.
I'll look into it.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's like, why do you put in a box over me as a female? Why? And like it's just you just a man having all these kids and it's okay, but let me have a bunch of kids. It's a whole problem. I'm confused. I wanted to own what was mine. I didn't want anybody else to feel like they had to own it or take it from me. So I would say in this lifestyle, it gives me the freedom of what I want and who is for me and what I like, my desires. You're not telling me what I should like or what I should want, or because everybody else wants you, I'm supposed to want you too. And on top of that, as a plus size girl, chubby my whole life, I would say the lifestyle gave
Mhm.
me the biggest boost of confidence ever as well.
Mhm.
It sounds
How is that?
crazy.
Mhm.
I would say that it gave me the most confidence because when you feel desirable and someone thinks you're just a beautiful woman, or they like how you look that night, or how you
Mhm.
dress, or how you're sitting, how you're presenting yourself, it's someone looking at you. They're not looking over you. They're not looking at the skinny best friend next to you. They're like, oh, okay, like my friend again, and my friend that I'm looking at, she's agreeing with me. Me and her are both plus size women, beautiful plus
Mhm.
size women. And when we go to parties, we used to be part of a
Mhm.
group that we're semi still part of. I'm not gonna name any names, where the way me, her, and three other people dressed,
Mhm.
people were like, the coach was like, if you don't come dressed like them to a party, don't even try to do it to yourself. It was like we were on a caliber.
Mhm.
And so with that, it was like, really? Like chubby on me? Like it gives you like this boost of confidence. You don't really think about your back rolls or the scar you have in your leg, or I might be saggy a little bit here, or I got a disformed butt cheek. No one cares. It's like if you reek of sex appeal, you reek of sex appeal. You can't hide that.
It almost seems like it's like a community, uh, in a
It
certain
is.
way.
It is because sometimes you find friends in the weirdest places and you never wonder why. Like I really can say the group of friends that I'm really close with who know me outside of the lifestyle that I met in the lifestyle, I couldn't ask for better
Mhm.
bunch of friends ever. So they're always there for me. They always do things for we
Mhm.
always do things for each other. It doesn't have to be a lifestyle thing. We hang out, it could be a
Okay.
vanilla hangout. Or we could say crazy shit.
Mhm.
We get it. You know what I mean? We don't feel outside.
Mhm. Mhm.
Lifestyle
Mhm.
is a community in its own way. And you can have a
Mhm.
good experience or a bad experience, but don't let that bad experience stop you from still feeling like who you are. There's always other groups. Don't ever feel like that one group is the only group you can stay in. You can always branch off meet other people. But I would say the friends I have are real friends to me. In the last 4 years I've lived in the state of New
Mhm.
Jersey, the people that I've met, they're like my closest friends that I've ever met in my life because I don't feel ashamed to say like, girl, I had a play date last night and it was not fun. Like what they do wrong. And they understand, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? They completely understand.
Mhm. Mhm.
And yeah, it's a
Mhm.
community because
Okay.
it's like just how we are. Some of us, not all. I was fortunate to have a good experience.
Well, I know that you said that you've only been in it for 4 years. What pushed you into this lifestyle?
What pushed
How,
me?
how, how did you just wake up one day and say, you know what, I want to go play with multiple people? Like, what
No.
pushed you there? How did you? Uh, get there?
Well, being a sexually open woman as I am, like I said, with no judgment, I actually had a
Mhm.
friend, really good friend again, from the lifestyle, who actually was trying to save her
Mhm.
marriage, trying to add some spice into her marriage. And she was
Okay.
like, "Hey,
Okay.
Nola, I'm going to this party," and she was like, I've heard about stuff like that, but I didn't know if black people were in it. I heard about it young, but let me fast forward a little before
Mhm.
that. I almost went to one in Las Vegas, maybe
Mhm.
a month before I was asked to go to one in New Jersey. We drove to the house, and my other
Mhm.
friend backed out of going. So I never got a chance to go. So fast forward back to my
Mhm.
friend asking me. It's like it's kind of this, like she was dancing around what kind of party it was, and I kind of put two and two equals four. I said, okay,
Mhm.
that's fine. She's like, sure. I was like, no questions. Like, yeah. I wanted to see, I don't want to not experience life. I just turned 30. Let me just find out
Mhm.
how things are. Let's go in. Let's see how everything's looking. And I was
Mhm.
like, sure, why not? And like I said, I've met the friends that I have. I actually met four good people that night who are still good friends with me to this day, like really good friends. And it was all our first party. So it was a lot of people whose first party it was and never had his party before.
Mhm.
And like that boost of confidence, like, oh, I want to play with you. Like it was open. Like I felt like
Mhm.
the vibe was great. And I didn't know, I wasn't expecting to play my first night. If I recall, I think I only played with one person
Mhm.
that first night. There's no quotas or nothing like that. You know,
Mhm.
it's like, oh, you only get one person minimum or two people, nothing like
Mhm.
that. But
Mhm.
when I went, it was
Mhm.
like the fact that it was women who looked like me, who were like scared
Mhm.
like me. And it just like, it's like, oh, okay, I could deal with this. And I
Mhm.
think what caught me the most was the social aspect.
Okay.
So when she asked me, like I said, I have no judgment about anything. I'm very open about everything and anyone. Like I was 8 years old when I met my first transgender, and I didn't question it.
Mhm.
So I guess because I was curious in my open mind, I like to learn other things, other cultures, and other people. Like I call anything a culture because it's you never know how someone is putting in something that they like. I don't question. I just like to figure it out and
Mhm.
find out on my own. I don't like to give prejudgments to anything, and that's what made
Okay.
me go.
A couple more questions.
By all means, I'm an open
Okay.
book.
Well, I have a couple more questions for you before we open it up for the Q&A, because I have a lot of people sending me questions, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are going to have other questions. So I'm trying to
By
make
all
sure that we get to
means, you knew
everybody's
it was
questions,
gonna
because there's
happen to me. You
people
knew
sending me questions privately.
they
What you
did. I
say?
didn't know that. I don't. I see it popping up, but I'm not really paying attention.
No, they sending this. I have people sending it to me privately. I have people texting me.
Oh,
I have people. Yeah, so I'm going to get to there. So I just have a couple more questions for you. Um, I know that in your, I'm trying to say it right, your vanilla life,
my vanilla.
you work in the mental health field.
Say it again.
So being someone that, I know that in your vanilla life, you work in a mental health field.
Yes.
Now, as someone that works in the mental health field, what is the psyche of someone that goes to these parties and they allow their spouse to play with someone else in front of them?
Um, it's a big it's a big play on trust. Um,
Okay.
because most relationships you go in, it's too good to be true. You wait for that other shoe to fall. You're like, oh, they go that shoe to fall. It
Mm-hmm.
fell, and you think it's gonna go shit to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I feel like for
Mm-hmm.
a relationship that there's no secrets, there's no hiding, it's so open.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just say, hey, baby, wanna go be with this couple today? Like, sure, why not? Sometimes it depends how I feel. But I feel like
Okay.
it's because it's people don't do truth anymore. People don't live the truth. People don't tell the truth.
Okay.
People give white lies.
Mm-hmm.
They're not being who they are. If you knew that you were
Mm-hmm.
not a person who was into monogamy and you were scared to tell that person, or you get into these what if might as well marriages where we had 2 kids together, we might
Mm-hmm.
as well get married. We've been together for 10 years, might as well get married.
Mm-hmm.
You still have Janie that you're
Mm-hmm.
fucking behind you, or she's still fucking Jamal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it gives more of a trust because like you know you wrote down each other's limits, you wrote down the rules for each other. Can't cross that. You have a conversation. It's not an overnight conversation. It's a conversation that you have to
Okay.
have for a while to make sure everyone's on the same page before you even branch off as a couple in this. And like
Okay.
for like I said, some of the positive aspects, it can make you feel more confident because in the real world, if you try to talk to like Lisa or Malik or whatever, and you want to get to talk to them and you're scared of rejection, you're like, I really have my heart set on her and she don't want to talk to me and she thinks I'm funny looking, or like it's just the rejection aspect is rejection's there, but it's not as defeating, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a
Okay.
lot of trust.
It does.
It's a little bit of a confident booster. It makes you feel better. Like it makes you feel
Mm-hmm.
like because every woman has body dysmorphia. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. A lot of them have body dysmorphia.
Cool.
And we can see ourselves in the mirror
Men
feeling like
too.
the ugliest thing in the world. And then tomorrow you feel like I'm the greatest thing in the world. But you go to a party and
Mm-hmm.
someone's like, damn, I like that. Like it could be a female that don't know you from Adam and Eve. Or a random guy that you would
Mm-hmm.
never thought to talk to in the streets because you felt like he was way above your caliber in
Mm-hmm.
how he looks in attraction, says you are sexy as fuck. How you think
Mm-hmm.
your boots is gonna go? From here or to here? It's gonna go up high. And it just
Oh, it's gonna
builds who
jump.
you are more and more because you feel like I don't give a fuck about you versus you mortals, but in my real life, I'm sexy as shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's just that's
Mm-hmm.
that confidence builder. And like I said, it could be a liberation because some people just like to feel like sex is releasing. Because people might think that you're abusing it when people like to call you a hoe or a whore, like you're
Mm-hmm.
releasing this power. Sex is such a power that people don't understand. It's a release of energy that no one ever gets. If you're not on that level, you don't get that energy that you're
Mm-hmm.
releasing. And sometimes you can have a hard week and you might not have
Mm-hmm.
that spouse, and you might just want to just get into that that world of yourself of a whole different person, and you just get that release out. It's like it's a good mental break at the end of the day if you think about it. Because we don't, how many jobs do you give us
Okay.
mental days?
Yeah.
Sometimes you sex it away,
Right.
you smoke it away. Some people don't even go to the parties for sex, they go for social aspects. Sometimes you're lonely, you just want to be around other people. I hope I answered your
Okay.
question.
All right. You did. You did. I have one last question. We open it up for
Sure.
Q&A. If let's just say that me or someone that I know were to go to a party just for research purposes, what advice would you give when you go to these parties? What advice would you give the person when you go to this party? I know consent is a big one, but you know,
Okay.
is there something that the person should do to maximize their fun?
To maximize their fun, talk to
Okay.
people, have a couple of drinks, give
Hmm.
compliments. If you see someone, like, don't push yourself on anyone.
Hmm.
Don't force conversation out of yourself. Give a
Okay.
conversation starter. If you wear a bright color, that might be a conversation starter. I come in with red hair. I have huge
Okay.
boobs and red hair. I get conversations all the time. That's my conversation starter. Um, be yourself. If it's a little quirky, try to work on it. You never know. And sometimes somebody might see you and they realize it's your first party. They'll say, "Hey, how are you?" And sometimes people might
Hmm.
approach you and like it's okay. You know how then sometimes and always a host will always make you feel better.
Okay.
And if you're a person who wants to get into the lifestyle, I think it's better to go as a couple or go with
Okay.
a friend. If you're a single, go with a friend who is in the lifestyle who can give you the ropes and help you educate and help you understand what is going on and be that protector. Never go to a party by yourself. I don't care if you're male or female. I feel like a male should
Hmm.
always come to a party with maybe a couple. Like go with someone who you can have that can be protected because you always want that extra eyes. That's the biggest thing.
Hmm.
Protection is key. You don't want anyone to do anything to you or anything like that. And that's the best I can say to you is just like come in as you are, leave your
Hmm.
worries at the door, have a couple of drinks. Alcohol make you talk a lot.
Okay.
I'm a little popular. My friends know me as smart mouth and both lifestyles, my vanilla and my lifestyle, they both know me with a smart mouth and me always say what I feel like saying. A peak of me comes in through my lifestyle, but I get to be me more in a lifestyle.
Okay. All right. Well, before we go ahead to the Q&A, I really want to thank you for coming on and being so transparent. Uh,
Thank
we're
you.
getting ready to open it up to Q&A. We actually have a new sponsor this week.
Be good to me, people.
The first sponsor is the sponsor this week is the Kingdom .coms. My buddy Corey has a clothing line called The Kingdom, so please feel free to go on that website, The Kingdom KIINGDOM .com, and he also sells wines
Ooh.
where the proceeds go to different charities. I've actually bought a few bottles of wine from there myself. It's One Hope Wine, so it's www.onehopewine.com/my shop/Corey Johnson.
Mm.
And 1 second. And
Me.
Nola, you have your company,
I
Poison
do.
Shops, where you can buy soaps, candles. I'm just waiting on my soaps now. Facial scrubs.
I sell
You can
body
go to.
scrubs, bath bombs. I do have a website. It's called poisonsonline.com. At the time right now, we're switching platforms, so it will be up and active by the end of the weekend. But it's poisonsonline.com is the
Okay.
website. I do take DM orders where you will get an invoice sent to you. We do ship out, and we also do pickups.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Wow, hands are already going up. But yeah, definitely. Please support Nola. Definitely. I've already. I'm buying a couple of soaps from. I'm probably gonna get some scrubs. So
Mhm.
definitely. Please support Nola as well as this week's sponsor. All right. Now we have.
Please
Wow,
give me
we
any
already have three hands up.
questions.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't even get the format yet. Okay. Where did it go? Just so that we can maintain order for this show.
No problem.
If you have a question or a comment, the first option is to raise your hand. If you don't know how to raise your hand, if you click on the three dots on the top or bottom of your screen that says more, if you click on those dots, it gives you an option to raise hand. If that doesn't work, you can type your question in the chat. And if all else fails, you can take yourself off mute. Let me know that you have a question, and I'll acknowledge you. Um, Now we do have a few hands up, and I'm going to just get to one of them that we have in the that was inboxed to me. I'm going to have to get through all of them, but we'll just start with one. One of the questions is there recording allowed at these parties?
No, no, absolutely not.
No
Absolutely
recording.
not. But
Okay.
there was one woman that I do know who was
Okay.
part of Hot Hold, where the host during the meet and greet said, if you want to play with, I'm gonna say Georgia. If you want to play with Georgia, she is part of a couple who's a cockhold. If you do want to play with her, she does record the session because she sends it to her husband. That was about the only time I ever heard that at a party, but there was no recording because it's very discreet. And a lot of us have very professional jobs and we like to keep it that way.
Okay. Got it. All right. Legend Simmons, he has a question.
Of course, Master Legend has a question.
Master Legend, really?
It's going to be forever on Inside Joke. You know that already.
Hello, my lovely Nola. How
How
are you today?
I'm well.
Good. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm sorry, my family, it had some things going on, so I missed part of it. I had it going on here in the loudspeak, but I watch the videos, I always do. So thank you. Yeah, you already know. I do my research. Oh yeah, I rewatch episodes if they interested enough. It ain't sound like you stumbled or anything like that. So my bad about the audio at first. I was telling somebody else, like, yeah, jump off. They're about to come. You'll see in a minute. I told her I'll tell them I tell you hi, but they'll come on to say themselves. But anyway, thank you so much. And question.
Answer.
How I'm trying to think of how to voice, and I'm sorry if you already answered this.
That's okay.
How easy is the transition to get into this type of world? Because obviously a lot of people frown on it, and I think a lot of them frown on it just because they really want to do it, but they're too nervous, right? Or there's influences saying, "Oh, that's not right" or whatever. So I commend you on that one.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, but how easy is it to get into the influence? Because, like I said, I've been wondering about it for a long time, years, and until I talked to you and actually you, because even met people that's into it, but it even seemed like it's kind of secret or what have you.
Yeah. It could be secret unless you're on SLS, which is, like I said, the Swinger Lifestyle website. For me, it was an easy transition because I was invited by a friend. It was also her first time. I don't remember how she knew the group that we got into, but it was easy because people were open. I'm gonna tell you my first party. The first party we came in, regular dress clothes, whatever. She did tell me that you have to have dress down because the dress down is midnight. They have mixers, you bring your own liquor, you have a mixer. Liquor opens up everybody. So that's the one, strike one. Strike two, they always have an icebreaker because they know it's a lot of people who never been in these parties before and they want you to feel comfortable. So with the comfortable, they go over the rules of no body shaming, consent. If you get too drunk, please let us know. If you get too drunk, we will go tell you either send you home in a cab or we're gonna have you sleep it off. And there were basically like no bullying. It depends on what party you go to. They have a whole list of rules. So between the drinks, the icebreakers, and people who were there for their first times, and just the social aspect, because you forget that you're at a play party, and then when you have dressed down at midnight, everybody's in their drawers. You're like, well, it's like speaking publicly. Like, always tell people, look at people in their drawers, you can feel better. When you're in your drawers and you're all talking, it's kind of comfortable because you're in your drawers. So the transition as a single female was very easy for me. Very easy. It was very opening, very friendly. I had fun. And that's not the sex part. I had the social part was very fun for me. But that's how it's easy for me to transition in.
And do you know if the males have the same easiness? I'm probably going to show it's going to be a little harder.
It could be a little harder. If they come in with some as a date, and like for instance, if I didn't have my mind, I would bring someone with me, like, oh, come with me to this party, explain it to them, and I tell them the ins and outs. If someone tells me the ins and outs of it ahead of time, like, oh, this kind of how this party is, or like spreading things and like tell them just relax a little bit. It might be a little uneasy, but men might adjust a little easier. But when it comes to couples, and you got the husband who wanted to get into the lifestyle, and the wife was like, I don't know. You can see the wife looking scared as shit in the face all the time. You can point out, you can see someone who's brand new all the time. And for some reason, well, I know as because I'm a couple, I always have a lot of the females of the couples. Well, I guess have an open face and always see me laughing and joking. Everybody's giving me hugs and kisses because me and mines are very popular when it comes to this party. Some of these parties were very well known. And they would have, like, she will come to talk to me like, hey, my name is X, Y, and Z. I'm like, hi, I'm Nola. We'll have a conversation and I'll give them ins and outs and they'll feel a little bit better about it. I said, don't feel like it's pressure to play your first time. You don't have to play your first time. There's always 1 or 4 people like me at parties that will give you like, that's all right, like ease you in, like put your foot in it. You don't have to jump into the pool just yet. And then next thing you know, you're a rock star. That's real talk.
I know a little bit about being a rock star, so thank you. I'll take it from here. I'll take it from here.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Next question.
You're welcome.
The next question is from Ja.
Mr. Zulu.
Ja, I think your mute is still on.
Okay, my apologies.
There go my friend. Hi.
Hey, what's up? All right. See, now, as me going on a year in this lifestyle and actually been interested for almost a decade, been kind of introduced to certain things before that, I've got to wonder, like, now at this point, I'm in my mid-30s, how do you balance love? Because now you introduced to this, like, introducing somebody who's not into or even understanding your habits, because you got to learn to turn it off and turn it on. You can balance that. Because a lot of people.
With me, I lucked out. As you know, I found mine in my lifestyle. We weren't even trying to get into a relationship. We were just trying to be play partners, and then it turned into something else. With that, it's all of, first off, when you have a relationship, you have to ask that person, like, I'm very open-minded. I'm very sexually open. And if someone can understand that legitimately, what kind of person you are and how sexually open you are, and you're who you are. And it's like you have to explain to them, like, it's not something I want you to do overnight. I just want you to come to one party with me, experience with me one time, and see how you like it. But the thing is, the first thing is you have to find someone who's like-minded like you. You can't find someone a little bit like closed in or like a little nervous to try anything new. You can't find someone who's like vanilla with a sprinkle of just regular chocolate sprinkles. You gotta find someone who's vanilla with cherries in them, or who has a little chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. Someone who wants to try something new. You can't go into dating someone who's just like, eh. If they give you an for anything, it's not worth it.
And that's my problem, is that especially for some reason I've noticed in the Black culture, because that's mostly who I deal with, I have that problem where it's like they were like, oh, I was more adventurous when I'm younger, but now I'm older. It's like, I don't want my neighbors hearing me. I don't want your neighbors hearing me. Oh, I did that, but I don't want to do that no more. And it's like you become more, I don't want to use this word, but you become more prudish. And I'm looking at you like, as a grown adult, you should be more now adventurous. Now, I get it that you have to build the trust up.
You know
Absolutely.
what
But it's like, but the shaming comes in. Like,
conversation so many times, and I value
the shaming comes in. Yeah, I was like, why does the shaming comes in? Like, the shame comes in. Like, oh, you want to just shame me now? Because
so what it is? When we're younger, we're carefree, and we don't care. And then we get into the life of getting older where we have to feel like, oh, now you have to be conservative. You have playtime's over. That's what we're always told, right? When you turn 21, 18, playtime's over. You gotta be an adult now. They forget the fun part of adult, and those are the ones who are boring. They forget that there's still fun in us. You don't have to stop being fun. I don't give a flying fuck if my neighbors hear me call my boyfriend's name daddy if I wanted to last night. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't care. And I'm a smile in your face the next day. Like, did you like the show? Because at the end of the day, people who actually like to shame the ones, as Jimmy said, those are the ones who usually are scared to do it themselves, or they don't know how to get there, or they have that insecurity of them. And it's like, you have to let them know, like, no. And shame, people get off on shame, and that's the sad part.
Yeah, they it's a form of power to them, and it's sad.
And that's when you gotta regain your power. I don't give a fuck what you feel about me. If you see me with my lacy panties and one at work, mind your business. I work the fuck I want. And that's how it is sometimes. And it's like, I don't care. Like, we have to get into that life. I'm 34. Me and you are a year, 2 years apart.
Yeah.
I can't remember. And it's like, I grew up as the good girl, believe it or not. Everyone looked at me as the good girl. I wasn't allowed to curse around my friends. My friends didn't want me to curse. I came in when the lights came on outside. I had to go. That was my curfew. I respected my curfew. I didn't jump out. I wasn't doing anything everybody else was doing. And I didn't want people to put me in that box. Don't let anybody put you in that box that you are not. You know what I mean? And I always tell you that. And it's like, once you can't find someone who can't not complete you, but add on to you, because you're already the main course. You just need a couple of appetizers. You know what I'm saying? And we always have this heart to heart. You know, I love you so much for that.
But some people are so scared to ask this question because I see other people have dealt with it. Like, let it be a man or a woman. There's the body shaming, there's the desire shaming, there's the appetite shaming. Like, oh, why you want it so much? Why you don't want it as much? It's all
types of realize that a woman's peak comes at 34, 35, right?
Yeah.
So
I gotta make sure I take my Gatorade and take my little energy shots. So
you're damn right. Get your little gym thing going. You know what I mean? So it's like, I need people to realize.
Get you some maca root and some sea moss. Get some maca root and some sea moss.
With some black seed, my brother. Can't forget the black seed.
Yep, black seed oil. Yep.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like, we've been shamed so long. And it was like, oh, you're a mother of 2. Or you got 4 kids. You should be, what the fuck? How you think they got here? How the fuck you think me and you got here? Somebody's mama was on that chandelier last night. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And then think about it. Here's a word of wise. Everyone's personality has a bit of their parents in them, correct?
Absolutely.
So if you think a certain way or act a certain way, where do you think you got it from? Oh, wait. Not everything's a learned, conditioned.
I got a long trait of my last names on my father's side. My
father's a hoe, so I joke and say that. But my part is, I'm basically my father's nightmare. If my father ever knew, my father's nightmare, because like I said, he was believing a woman's a white dress and a man's a black suit.
Hey, we're right there together.
But you know what I got from my father? My father knows how to talk the panties out of any bitch he wants. And I could talk the pants on any man I want. And I've done it.
Ooh.
So I know where I get it from. You know what I mean? So I'm going to embrace who I am because I hated myself way too long. I'd be damned. And that's the best I can give to you. Is like, don't let, like, who gives a fuck? Like my mother always told me, who has a heaven and hell to put you in? They don't have it.
Definitely.
So, I'm glad we was able to get that off the table. Hopefully, I'm not going to bombard any more questions. There's plenty of other people here. I saw ladies in there talking about.
Jimmy, that's what I was telling you about yesterday.
Like, I'm telling her about the body positivities. Hopefully, she'll be able to reach out, put her hand up, so she's able to feel comfortable and better about this situation. Because I know I feel better.
All right, thanks a lot, Ja. Larita had her hand up next.
Oh, don't ooh.
Listen, I read those lips. He's like, I can't stand you.
I was bombarding Jimmy with questions. So yeah. Whew. Okay, so I'll just probably go back to some of the ones that I asked. Are there any misconceptions about the community, like drugs being used at the party? Are there any like what is it called? Like, yeah, misconceptions, misunderstandings, things like that. People always think there's a bunch of drugs used at the parties, and yeah, so are there?
So first off, the only drug you got is 420, and 9 out of 10 they have you in a designated area for that. because they like to be respectful of those who don't smoke. So they're like, if you're gonna smoke, we have a room for that or a little balcony for that. So we don't want to disrespect anybody else who don't smoke.
Okay.
Strike one. Strike two. People feel like it's a big orgy, like everybody can jump in, like it's just a pool, I'm gonna dive in. Nope, zilch, not happening. Consent. I can't stress consent enough.
Mhm.
I am the queen of I will curse you out and slap your hand, or I stick my pit bull on you, which is my other half.
Right.
Sometimes there's times when you gotta pull me back, like, ease up, Nola. Don't touch me. I ain't asked you, or I'll protect another woman too. Like if someone's like wants to go touch the true story, this guy wants to go touch a woman's hair. Did you ask her to touch you? Did she say yes? I'm quick on it. So the misconception, people think it's automatically an orgy. Everybody's butt naked when you walk through the door. Now, if you come to the party after 12 o'clock, mine's the same. You might find a couple of butt naked people because the party started.
Mhm.
So there's no hardcore drugs. That's that stuff on TV. It may have been something back in the past because the lifestyle is very, very old. Very, very old. Because if you think about, I'm about to be very historic. You think about the hysteria era with women. Do you remember the whole thing when they were like, women is needed to have, like, when they was doing like these, having the doctors, the real medical doctors, where they would come in and actually give a woman an orgasm with stimulation of her clitoris?
Yeah.
Think about it. Wasn't that kind of a lifestyle you want all the time? Like you were really getting checked up for what?
Like it was clinical. It was clinical. It was clinical studies.
Exactly. And it's like the hysteria, like, oh, because she's losing her mind because she needs a nut. But what is the first thing man tells you? Oh, you mad because you need some dick, don't you? You need some dick. You know what I mean? Like, and that's how it is. But no, the misconception is it's always consent. Nobody can just jump in. You always have to ask. That just it. It's just respect all the way down. If you have no respect, you will get rejected. You will get ejected. People want
so
the whole. Go ahead.
Oh no! I was saying, so with the rules, like I have a whole list, and I was trying to go in order of how you were talking and asking them. So speaking of that, like, are there any penalties per se if you don't know that you're like a squirter, or you don't squirt all the time, and you don't come with I think you said a wee pad? Like, are there penalties for stuff like that if you don't come prepared for stuff like that?
Not every woman knows they're a squirter, so it could be accidental. Some parties I've been to already have a wee pad. So if you never experienced it, they just tell you to take the top sheet off, because it depends on how much it is. Like, oh wait, don't go there, it's a little wet spot, and no one really gets upset. They just go around it. There's no penalties for you enjoying yourself. If you never knew you were a squirter, okay. If you knew you were a squirter, like, you know better. Like, don't mess up the bed. We still gotta play on it too. Like, it's just a courtesy. That's all it is. But they do have their own wee pads there for those who are squirters who don't bring their own. But they're happy when you bring their own, though. They're excited.
See, me knowing you, and I know a lot of the answer to some of these questions, I'm still gonna ask them. Are there? Okay, what's my next question? Are there any animals or fuzzies or any type of fetishes like that? Because I know there's a lot of
those are fetish
with
parties.
animals. Okay.
Those are fetish parties that people have. You find a lot more of those at FetLife. I don't knock any fetishes, but like I said, there are fetish parties that people do have. Have I ever attended one? No, because I don't have a fetish. I'm kind of vanilla when it comes to the fetish life. Except for flogging. I like to flog and I do like to dominate. I only dominate. I call myself a half-ass unicorn, if that makes sense. I call myself a half-ass unicorn because I am sexually attracted to women, but it's some timing thing. It's not all the time. I don't always want to sleep with women.
So I'll ask one more to give everybody else a chance. Do you have to come dressed in lingerie or underwear, or can you get in just wearing regular clothes?
You come in with regular clothes. They have a dress down between 11 or 12 o'clock, depends on the host. So usually one of the parties where regulars are, we are regulars too. We come in at 11 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, they always have meet and greets. So what they do is, like, if it's a couple, like, oh, hey, what's your name? Like, oh, I'm Jamel. I am a couple. We're full swap. Full swap is basically like you swap couples. Like, I take your man, you take my man, full swap. Or she's a unicorn, or she's not a unicorn, or We don't kiss, or just basically say your do's and don'ts. So that's really what it is.
All right, I'll give
Did I answer
somebody
your
else a
question?
chance. I have more, but I'll give other people a chance.
Hang on one second. Let me take a look. Does anyone else have a question? Because I did have a few that were texted to me. So does anyone else here have any questions or comments? Let's see. Going once, going twice. All right. A question that was sent to me is, what do the people at the parties look like physically, visually? Like, are there a certain size type, a certain
Look
look,
like you.
certain age?
They look like me and you.
Okay.
Literally.
Okay.
There's some women who has some badass bodies, look like they should have a model. There's some who are chubby like me with a little extra to their glass. There's some big boys. There's everything. There's every part of the world that you see.
Okay. All right. Icon had his hand up.
Oh snap.
Icon, you got to take your mic off or your mic on. Icon.
There you go.
You would think this guy isn't on isn't on a podcast.
Look, Icon will pull
mic's
up.
not working.
Don't wait till the camera goes off to ask your question.
Oh, you're joking.
Yeah, the great, you know what I'm saying?
Breaking up.
But I did have one. Oh shit, I'm breaking up. God damn.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Icon, this is not extreme truth. Watch your mouth, bro. Thank you.
Oh.
No,
Oh,
it's all right.
my bad.
I already gave the disclaimer. I know it's all right. I already gave the disclaimer. Viewers' questions as advised for this episode. So go ahead, say what you want.
Oh, well, then my bad. Icon, continue.
So.
He froze again.
You froze again.
Oh, come on, Icon. You pulling a Master Legend.
Legends House or something?
He's pulling a Master Legend right now.
Yeah, I think Icon might be a. Did you let Icon borrow your Wi-Fi?
I guess so. You think he'd be sitting right here next to me?
Wow.
There you go.
You know what?
Sorry,
I'm not. Only reason this is happening because I'm not on my usual headsets and shit. But can someone? Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you. I hear you.
Okay. All right. So only thing.
There, see, he's about to say something.
We heard you.
Yeah.
He might need to switch some headsets. Yeah, see, I'm enjoying this. And Nola, you already know why. Instead of you, Larita, instead of you, Queen, and so is Luna, and I don't know if I'm missing anybody else here that I don't see. But yeah, y'all already know. I'm enjoying this.
Of course you do, Master Legend and Daddy Icon.
So the only reason this is funny is because I co-host a show called Extreme Truth with Legend Icon and DJ Just D, and every Monday, Legend's audio is either frozen, breaking up.
Every Monday.
And we always mess with, and of course, Icon.
No, I got one Monday. I got one Monday. I did it clean. One Monday.
All of a sudden, when I want to jump on Fall to Rise, I'm falling. You know, okay.
I guess you're still falling. Did you ever get up?
He still falling.
You need help up, cuz?
I guess it's Wi-Fi in the sunken place.
I wish I could fill in for what he was going to say. I don't even know what he was going to talk about, so I'm sorry.
I want to know so bad now.
So I can finish his sentences, but I have no idea what my cousin. We didn't talk about this.
He might have to type in his question.
Right.
He might have to go in the chat.
Especially considering the picture that's frozen on.
Oh, that's like a whole blur. That is funny to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, James the Icon Graham.
has left the building. He's actually gone.
I'm gonna
He's
get them because they always be
Oh.
getting me on Monday. So yeah, I'm gonna get them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, he'll be back in a second. I think one thing that I had spoken to Nola about before, I might actually set up a virtual munch, so that we can kind of experience it and see what it's like. We'll have information on that coming up real soon. And while we're waiting for Icon to come back, I want to thank everybody that did tune in today. If you're new to this show, I appreciate you coming on. We do this show every week. This is my 21st episode that we're doing right now. So I really appreciate you all for coming on. I posted the link to my YouTube channel. We cover a lot of different things that are, I guess, quote unquote, for the Black community. So we've covered LGBT. We've covered Am I Black Enough? What it means to be Black America. We've covered daddy issues. We've covered domestic violence, finance, mental health, which I'm a big advocate of. So I definitely appreciate the support. So please like and subscribe to the channel. It's a Fall to Rise podcast. The link is in the chat. Please, again, like, subscribe, and share. I'm also the co-host of another show called the Extreme Truth podcast that I, again, host with legend James the Icon Grant and DJ Just D. Whenever Just D is on. Normally his audio works. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, but please like and subscribe to the Extreme Truth YouTube channel, Instagram, and Facebook pages. And it's Extreme with just an X, TREME. And I also want to give a shout out to Queen Diva, whose magazine just dropped today. So, definitely shout out to you. I don't know if you can tell people how they can order your magazine, but definitely shout out to you. If she's still on, I don't know if she's still on.
Yeah, I know she's like in transition, I think, for somewhere or whatever. So
yeah, and this is the flyer for the Extreme Truth podcast. So again, please like and subscribe. It's a little bit. It's ironic. This is normally the clean show. Ironically, this is normally the show where there's no foul language. We done changed that today. But yeah. Now the Monday show, that's a little wilder, raunchier, crazier one. Crazier version of us. So please like and subscribe to those channels. So I guess Icon's running a little late.
we'll give him a one more. Let me see what he said here. Hold on, y'all. Let me see. This is like exclusive.
You want me to ask one of my other millions of questions?
Let me see what Icon said.
Okay.
Because he did respond in the chat.
So Miss Nola, do you think that your becoming sexually active in college had anything or any type of influence on your entering into the lifestyle?
No.
Cool.
Because it was simple. You know what it was? I knew what I liked and I knew what I wanted. I just didn't know how to tell my partner what I liked and what I wanted. Because I was still stuck in that good girl stigma.
Mm-hmm. When did you realize you were a unicorn, per se, or into females?
I was a unicorn. I was 19. I was actually emotionally attracted to a woman first.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
I've known you forever.
I know she was a writer, and I didn't want to say anything because I didn't know how to feel about it. And
okay.
I was emotionally attracted to her because she was just like, I just wanted to be around her. Like, that's all it was. And I didn't want to say anything to anyone because, like I said, good girl image. And then if you ever told a guy like, hey, I think females are attractive, I didn't want to be another stigma of, oh, let's have a threesome.
Right.
No. So that was another reason why I never said anything.
Do you think the lifestyle helped you become sexually free, or were you already sexually free before?
I was already sexually free. I was around more people who were just like me. That's what I made it feel. It just made me feel I felt more belonging.
Okay. And against this, the stigma, are there STIs running rampant through the community that you know of? I know you said, I think hepatitis B was just one, but like, are there other incurable, diseases? Because they'll feel like, oh, it's just a bunch of herpes and
Yeah, but
crabs and all that other stuff.
my understanding there, you have to good judgment. You have to be also that person to be very open about any kind of diagnosis you have and let the other person be understanding. From my understanding, those who actually have something wrong in the groups that I run rampant in, I guess, they're not so keen on jumping into going to a play party, something's not right downstairs. So a little bit more respectful in that aspect. Haven't had or heard anything in my immediate groups that I dealt with because of everything going on with any kind of outbreaks of anything. Like I said, that's why it's a very sanitary thing. It's a lot more sanitary than you think it is, except for some of the knuckleheads who just like to throw discarded DNA on the floor and got cursed out later about it. That's not here or there. But for the most part, it's very sanitary. People wash all the time in between and they take breaks. It's a lot. It's like I said, it's a lot more sanitary than you think it is.
Do you find that there are more people of an older age or a younger age, or is it just very mixed across the board?
Very mixed across the board, and also depends on what group you're in. Because like when I met my other half, his group was a little bit older. We're only 4 years apart. He's 38, I'm 34. The ones I met with him are a little older because an older woman put him into it. An older white woman put him into it. The group that I met him in when he got introduced to another group was a younger Black woman introducing me into it. So when I went from a world of nothing but mainly Black and Spanish people with a little bit of Filipinos ever so often in there to going to his groups where it's more white people with a little sprinkle of Black people, the worlds were a little different. And I was so open to it. But then we became more together with groups where it was more a mixture of everyone. The group is the hosts that we are really good with are a Spanish couple, but their mix is a really good mix of everybody. Okay. So it's a good age. You have some people who look like people are like 50 something, but they look like they're 40 something. Because good Black doesn't crack. So you have people who are like 25. I think the youngest I've ever met at a play party was like 25, 24.
Maybe they're not my age. They're not 29 like me.
I said the youngest. I said the youngest. I didn't say the oldest.
I'm being a jerk.
I've actually met a man who was 70 in the lifestyle. And he was getting in. I was impressed.
Yes, I mean, I think the age thing is kind of weird because I was invited to a munch that they were having in my town, and the woman was 67. It was a 67-year-old white woman, and I saw the ages of everybody that was there was over 50, like everybody, and I definitely would have been the only person of color there.
And usually usually sometimes you have people who just have groups just for the older couples. And you have some people who want somebody that's younger. It all depends on your preference.
Mm-hmm. But so what's considered the older ages? What is considered, yeah. Because you know my age. I don't have any shame about telling my age, but yeah.
Already, so I'm used to people who are like a little older than me, a little in their early 40s or late 40s. I would say, quote unquote, to me, old is 70, 60, 70.
Cool.
Because I've met 50-year-olds who, because like I said, women in their peak after 34, 35. So them 50-year-olds be like, who's next? And I've seen her take down people. People. There's just some people who are just like, you dropped the name, like, oh, I know who that is. And it's always a small, and it's like, oh, I know exactly who that is. And it's like, they want to experience because they know about the myth, but they just want to meet the legend to go with the myth. And I've met plenty of legends in this. Because it's like, I can go to a party in South Jersey, like, oh, y'all know such and such. Like I said, I'm not going to drop any names. Y'all know such and such? Oh, yeah, I know such and such. You got to be careful because she squirts, but you got to duck sometimes. Like, but I'm just saying, it's just like that. And sometimes people know my other half as the masseuse because we'll go to parties and I'm usually his mule. So he could be giving me a full body massage and he'll give another woman a full, all right, I hold him off. I was like, my husband gets massages from try it. Like, I hold him off. And that's how I usually get women to talk stuff like that. And we've become popular because of who we are as person. Like, I was semi-popular by myself. And then when we became a couple, we became very well known to a lot of other people. Our worlds came together and we have a really good circle of friends that we legitimately call friends.
Okay, cool.
Where's the rest of your 21 questions?
Yeah, I'm done.
Do you have more people ask you more questions?
For me?
Jimmy said he had people that text him questions.
Well, I think I pretty much got to most of them. Larita, sounds like with all the questions you might be going to a party one of these days. So
Well, I've been invited, and I was invited on here. I was blushing a little bit. I was like, oh, okay.
So the person who I read the chat, the person who invited you was a really good friend of mine. That's someone who's like in the media circle. We're like really good friends. I've known him for at least 4 or 5 years.
Maybe.
So,
I'll just put it as a maybe.
So I hope that no one felt uncomfortable. I hope my raw talk wasn't too much, but that's just me as a person. I'm not being someone else. I'm being who I am.
I might have to do a show from one of those parties. Again, the cameras won't be facing anybody, but just so that I can be there for research purposes. We definitely might have to do that. We might have to do at least a part 2 on this because I know there's a lot more that we didn't get into with this. We didn't get into the different kinks. We didn't get into the different parts of the lifestyle. There's so much more with this. So if we ever did a part 2, would you be willing to come back or even bring some friends for a part 2?
Of course. I wouldn't mind. You know that already.
Yeah.
You already know.
Okay. 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 Cool. Well, I really want to thank you for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. What'd you say?
It was a full house today.
It was.
Mm-hmm.
It was, and I really, really appreciate it. We had a lot of fun today. Got a lot of questions answered. I learned a lot. I learned, for instance, that I'm not going to be going to work with my pineapple cup. I might be inviting some things.
That's remember. Be careful.
I have pineapple cups. Yeah. I have so many. I have pineapple shirts. Yeah. I'm gonna stop drinking pineapple juice.
No, don't stop with the pineapple juice. Cut it out.
You gotta keep drinking the pineapple juice now. You gotta drink that.
You know the myth about that. I turned this whole podcast out. I'm sorry.
But yeah, no. But no, I did learn a lot. And I was able to get the website for Unique Blends magazine.
Okay.
www.magcloud.com. magcloud.com/browse/issue. So if you go on there, you can access the Unique Blend magazine.
Can I say
again? I thank you all for coming on. Please like and subscribe to. Go ahead.
I know as a female, I'm thankful for everyone coming because as a female, it's very taboo for a woman to say something out loud and open. It's usually a male saying, and it's like, oh, okay. But the fact that you guys are willing to listen to a woman says a lot, and I appreciate that.
Definitely. I appreciate you for coming on, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in. That was big. This is big. This is a topic that I've been talking about doing for months, and a lot of people were afraid to even talk about it. So and we have people on here literally from all walks of life, literally, different genders, different sexual orientations, different parts of the country, and they're all on here. So I really appreciate you all for coming on. As I said before, the link is in the chat for the YouTube channel of the Fall to Rise podcast on YouTube channel. The link is there. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and share. Watch previous episodes. You can also check us out on Mondays with the Extreme Truth podcast. You can check the Instagram, Facebook, YouTube pages as well. And Larita and my buddy Jalen and I will be making an announcement soon about another project that we have coming out. So please stay tuned. We're gonna have a lot of stuff coming out. So for me, now Icon comes back. All right, so we're gonna get Icon's question before we go because I am committed now. We have to get this question.
It is time for the grand finale, ladies and gentlemen. James Icon Graham.
Wait, don't clap yet. We got to make sure his Wi-Fi works first.
Did you boot it out again?
Well, let's see.
you
Let's hope
go.
that this. Yeah, I don't even know what the hell we left off at, but what I was trying to say before I got rudely interrupted by the technology that I'm fucking with. No, what I have when I was introduced to the swingers and life and everything, I never really did like the swingers where as I walk in with couples and stuff like that, because every time that I tried that, I attempted, and it wasn't like my girlfriend. Like I had like somebody that, we just used to fuck around, and me and her like to fuck other women. So it's been times where we got offered to hit the swingers join up, and just a few times that I've went, it was a whole bunch of dick softeners. So a whole bunch of dick softeners. There's women that you'll see that make your dick hard, and there's women that you see will make your dick soft. So just for me, it just, every time I was introduced to that back in the day, it was just, it just brought down my sex drive. So throughout the years, I just put on my sex parties, and everybody just have a great time. But yeah, that's all I had to say about that.
Yeah. Well, I think that with those parties is kind of I think the type of women that you may not like, there's probably somebody that likes it.
No, and that's great. And I'm not saying that everything should be my type. No, I'm not saying that. It was just that, I was looking for, all types, and when I got there, it was probably only one or two types. I'm like,
was too high.
So maybe, Icon, you should go to Miss Nola's parties. I'm just saying, just a suggestion.
Well, we'll see. But December
some parties where I'm
2021,
like real talk. When the fact that you say it, I'm gonna say like how I say it. As a female, and I go to a party, and me and my half be joking like, he's like, I see about 5 possible. I see about 1. And we literally sit there and have that joke sitting next to each other like, or I go, babe, the buffet is not so good today. He's like, yeah, I can tell. He knows my type. Like he knows if you know who I'm gonna look for. He's like, oh, you was looking at that tall, dark one in the corner. I was like, yep, I was. Like, and that's how sometimes it is. You're like, didn't feel tickle. No, thank you. So I know exactly what you mean, Icon. There are times where it's just like, nah, not my hunger. Because you go there for your fantasy, what you think you can, where you feel like you're scared to go for outside. So when you go here, you get all your fantasies out. Like I said, I have my insecurities because I am not everyone's favorite flavor of Kool-Aid. You know what I mean? Or they might not like Kool-Aid. So sometimes I'll be like, you want me? The short chubby girl here? Me? So that's how it is sometimes. So I know exactly what you mean. Sometimes it's like, oh, I'm fine not going to a party, not playing. I have fun just having conversations. Like I said, it's like seeing your friends that you can only see, like, hey, I got to see you there. Especially if you live in 2 different parts of New Jersey. For me, it's a lot of social aspect as well.
Like from what I've seen, I wouldn't want to fuck with no swingers in Jersey, because it was all trash in my eyes. Maybe it's beautiful to other people, but
No, I see some bad.
I like to see people have sex. You know what I'm saying? But
I see some
when it's to the point that it just 2 grenades just explode, and it's like, I might as well just stay home and jerk off.
All
right. I know the man said viewers' discretion is advised. Once again, this is not extreme truth.
Hey,
it's not Monday. It's not Monday, Icon.
But it got to the point, and Legend probably could testify from years back. It got to the point that I had to put on my own sex parties for I could tell people this is how sexual shit's supposed to be like. Right, Legend?
He ain't lying.
So
there are actually some people that acts like there are people who will take like, I was like, can you send us a picture? Like they'll text their guest lists for a real picture to show, make sure you're real and to see if you're fit in their caliber. Because some people want nothing but just sexy people, or like some people are just very anal about who they want in their party. So things have changed.
That might be
I've
one.
seen
That
some very
probably be
exotic.
me.
I've seen some exotic bitches. Is like, are you sure you want to take my clothes off in front of her? Like, I'm feeling a little like, oh. But yeah, they're there, and there's some dudes just like, why are you here? So it's they're hit and misses. Sometimes the buffet's a little vague. They ain't serving what you want.
Because
So,
it's because only thing I'm saying is very disappointing. Us guys, we will have to pay more for the situation. So of course,
so I understand that part.
Because knowing that we have to pay more for the situation, that means we expect to get our money's worth.
And then you know what's funny? There are some guys who go to one party and like, you know what? They always have really good looking females there, and they'll continue to only go to that one person's party and be a part of that group only. So like with us, we very vaguely went to other parties that we didn't know the host. So the fact that we know the host, we know who's gonna be there, we know gonna guarantee a good time. All the time we playing Russian roulette, like, ooh, who gonna be there? And then the difference between the parties that are in the hotels versus the clubs is a whole nother conversation. The clubs are very cliquey, and that's where it's like a hit and miss. And you can now, but on SLS, you can see who's on the list and you can make a decision. But the thing is, if it doesn't say confirm next to their name, that means they're not coming. So you don't know. So it's a Russian roulette. Like I said, when we go to our regulars, we know it's going to be one hell of a good time.
We need them house party numbers. Yeah, we need them house party dates. If they click it in the club, yeah, house past the club. Where house party at?
What they do at clubs is like, they'll like, for instance, if me and you, Master Legend, and Rita and Daddy James, Rita and Daddy James were a couple, and we were a couple, and we knew that, oh, we feel like going to Club Z tonight. Right? I'm starting out, it's not a real name of a club, start out a name. We're gonna call it Club Z tonight. We want to be there, have some talk and see if everything works out and have a full swap that way. And people who play each other consistently in the clubs, they will only meet at the club. That's their spot. So they have this whole big cliquish thing. There are cliques when it comes to these parts, to the clubs. Now, when it comes to the hotel parties, the hotel takeovers, it's kind of an open free party. Believe it or not, there are people who rent out a whole hotel just for a play party, and they call them hotel takeovers.
It sounds like you're probably going to be hosting a party sometime soon. I guess that's when COVID is over.
Right.
Yeah, we thought about it. We actually thought about it.
One of my
I was gonna say, if you do, we'll promote it on here. We'll have another viewer discretion advised episode, and we'll definitely promote it.
Please don't tell Icon that.
Icon already heard it, baby.
Look, Icon, I'll send you a picture of all the women so you have an idea. So you won't get your feelings hurt. I'll send you a picture of all the women so you won't be upset.
Yeah, because if I pay my money and my dick hard and I go in there and my dick gets soft, I'm mad to the motherfucker.
Oh my God. I ain't mad. I'm the same way. I ain't gonna accept that letter around that alone. I want my money's worth.
Shit, we talk about and Legend. We talk about swingers. I could say dick, ass, pussy. We talk about swingers. Hell,
I'm just saying, Icon. Say a class man at least.
Master,
you know what I'm saying?
Master Legend, in his defense, when you got cut off, I said a couple of words that were kind of vulgar, so we can't get mad at Icon. I said some shit.
Yeah.
I said people be babysitting the pussy when it comes to parties. So.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just used to being off all the rides.
Yeah, we don't.
This is normal. I'm gonna come on next week. He's gonna have like a burn victim. I'm like, fuck that fire and this.
Listen.
Like, okay, wait, this is all the rides. This is Saturday.
This summer 2021, be on the lookout. I might throw one down to tell people this is how you really get down. So, hey.
We'll let them know. We'll let them know. But yeah, it's about that time. It's it's about that time. It's after 5. I really appreciate y'all all coming on. We'll be back next week on Follow the Rise. Please, again, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Facebook, the Instagram, and I have the flyers for all the upcoming shows. And again, we have Extreme Truth with Legend Damian Simmons, James Icon Grant, Just D, and myself. Every
Extreme.
Monday. The information is in the chat. Extreme Truth with the letter X, no E, XTREME. So thank you all for coming out. Nola, thanks again. You know, you were amazing, an amazing guest. So I really, really appreciate you coming on. And I'm pretty sure that everyone that had these questions really appreciate you for coming on.
Thank you.
So thank you all. Everybody be safe out there. Good night.